And with that out of the way, let's go right ahead and talk about JJ Redick and his official contract with the Los Angeles Lakers to become their new head coach. Now, a lot more people are a bit upset with this deal than they were in the beginning of the season, which is a little bit hypocritical. Well, not the beginning of the season, but the beginning when these rumors started, which is a little bit hypocritical because when JJ Redick was on the podcast with LeBron talking about basketball, everyone was saying that JJ really knew his stuff. Now they're saying that he's not going to be a good coach because of his inexperience. So I don't really know what side the media is on here. I don't know who they're like who they want to win, who they expect. Well, not who they want to win, but who they. I, I don't understand. Like, I genuinely don't. Like, because on one end, everyone's saying it's a good move. Then on the other end, everyone's saying it's a bad move. And it's like in the beginning, everyone was saying it's good. Now everyone's saying that it's bad. So it's very, like, it's bipolar almost. Like, it just flip-flops between good, bad. This happens all the time with the Lakers offseason, and I can't stand it. And I mean, the details of the contract. Let's go over the details before we get into anything else. So I mentioned that in the previous podcast he was hired, but that information was actually leaked out a little bit earlier than it needed to be, and it was on accident. But finally they negotiated a deal, and it's a 4-year deal, which will be around $8 million per year. So his while the exact structure of the deal is unknown, an 8 million salary would make JJ Redick one of the 10 highest paid coaches in the NBA. Head coach contracts aren't really made public, but Popovich and Kerr, they're believed to each make around 16 to 17 million dollars per year, which is a lot of money for a coach. Now, expecting that, giving JJ Redick a top 10 paid position, despite the fact that he's inexperienced, it seems a little bit out there, and it seems a little bit crazy because there are other head coaches on the market that are experienced and they could have interviewed, but they decided to opt with the one that has zero coaching experience. This could really backfire on them. But it could also, or it could end up being really good. Like, we have no idea how he's going to be as a coach. And I thought that Steve Nash was going to be a pretty good coach because he was a really good point guard, and that ultimately ended up being untrue. So, with that, let's go ahead and continue reading this article. Eric Spoelstra is next on the list, but behind Steve Kerr and Greg Popovich with the $15 million per year that he gets from Miami. Monty Williams, who was fired this week only after one season into the Detroit Pistons after signing his massive contract, he made an estimated $13 million last season. Nick Nurse, Doc Rivers, Michael Malone, and Rick Carlisle all make in the neighborhood of $8 million per year. So he's going to be making around the same money as Doc, Michael Malone, Nick Nurse. Now, as much as I don't like Doc Rivers as a coach, one of the things that he has on his resume is a championship ring. He also has several other bad things, like several 3-1 losses, several 3-1 leads blown in the postseason, several 3-2 leads blown in the postseason, several 2-0 leads blown in the postseason. He has it all. But he does still have that championship. And, should a championship that's from 2008 be worth $8 million per year? Maybe not. Maybe not. I'll have to rethink that a little bit, but the Lakers, they may not have offered Redick anything close to what they're willing to pay Dan Hurley, but Redick has no previous coaching experience and honestly should be pleased with the deal given the circumstances of the Lakers. Now, there was also a rumor going about saying that, one of the members of the coaching staff that JJ Redick is planning on bringing along is Rondo, which is honestly a little bit surprising because, again, that's another person that doesn't have any coaching experience, and you're getting him on the staff. You need a really good staff. I understand that, but get some more people with experience. Surround yourself with the people that have the experience of being in the front office or not being in the front office, but being in the head coaching slot. And then you'll be able to learn from that and be able to ultimately get a little bit better at your job. That's just my opinion. That's what I would do. I would surround myself with all the experience that I could possibly have. Now, one of the things that I'm expecting going into this off season, I'm expecting this league to do a tampering investigation. Now, you might not understand why, but it's like the podcast that LeBron and JJ Redick started. I feel like, in my opinion, that is the biggest lead to a tampering. I don't like. I mean, just think about it. I mean, LeBron on a podcast with JJ Redick, head coaching spot is vacant, and they're talking about basketball. It seemed everyone was saying that this is an interview from LeBron to being that JJ might end up being the new head coach. Now, they were also saying that LeBron didn't talk about him being the head coach at all on the podcast or off the podcast. But do we really know that? I know I'm just, spitballing here, but this is just my theory. I genuinely think that there might be a tampering, there might be some kind of tampering. There might. This is just this is just a thought, because I remember in the NFL there was also an instance of tampering between the Dolphins and Tom Brady. The Dolphins were negotiating, with Tom Brady to see if there was a way to get him on the Miami Dolphins as opposed to staying in Tampa. But then the NFL it found out, and they figured them out for tampering, and as punishment, the NFL took away Miami's draft pick. So they just didn't have a pick in the first round of the NFL draft, which is, it sounds bad, but I mean, they are still in a relatively good position in the NBA. I'm not in the NBA, but in the NFL. So you take the good from the bad. The fact that they could have had another player is, it's unfortunate, but at the same time, they still have a really good team, and they still had a pretty good season in the NFL. So the fact that happened, it just has me a little bit concerned over this little instance right here, and how there could possibly be some kind of tampering involved, because I feel like this is just too good of a coincidence for, LeBron just starts a podcast with someone, and then immediately that person becomes the new coach for his own team. It sounds fishy. Like, when you put it that way, it sounds incredibly fishy. So that might be something that that the NBA is going to investigate in the future. Now, I'm not saying that there was any kind of tampering. That is not what I'm saying. I'm just giving a prediction of what could possibly happen, and I'm not saying that it is even going to happen. It's just a thought and a worry in my mind, because if they get found out for tampering, this could probably hurt the Lakers a little bit more than it would help the Lakers. And it's not ideal to put yourself and to dig a deeper hole before the season even starts, which is essentially like which is essentially what the media thinks that they're doing by acquiring JJ Redick in this contract. But we'll just have to see how this goes. Maybe because it's LeBron, there won't even be an investigation about that. Maybe they'll just let it slide. Who knows? Who knows? Maybe there even isn't anything and I'm just talking nonsense. But that's just a theory that I have, because, again, I do not know. No one was in the room when it happened, and nobody has that kind of insider information between what LeBron and what JJ does. Nobody. So that with that being said, let me know in the comments what you guys think of this move. Do you guys think it was a good move? Do you think it was a bad move getting JJ? Or would you rather them look for a new, more experienced head coach as opposed to him? But that is all I have for you on the second segment. So now we will go ahead and go into the third segment, where we talk about Malik Monk re-signing with the Sacramento Kings. So I will be right back after the short break. Be sure to stay tuned.
Looking for your daily fix of sports talk without having to pay for it? GSMC Sports Network is available on YouTube. Just search GSMC Sports Network. Get your fix of daily sports talk shows on YouTube, absolutely free. NFL, college football, NBA, MLB, MMA, UFC, fantasy football, and so much more. GSMC Sports Network has shows running all day long, with new sports shows starting every 2 hours. Just like on your favorite cable sports channel, except GSMC Sports Network is absolutely free. Just search GSMC Sports Network on YouTube to catch one of your new favorite shows, like the GSMC College Football Podcast, Chip Shot Football Podcast, Hoops and Heels Women's Sports Podcast, GSMC Basketball Podcast, and so many more. Check it out for yourself. GSMC Sports Network, now available on YouTube absolutely free. Search GSMC Sports Network on YouTube right now.